Hi everyone, it's Amanda from Willow Pip. Today I thought I'd try a little bit more of a vlog style day in running my homemade soap and candle business from home. I am going to be filling some orders today, and then I'll be moving into my soap and candle making studio. I think today I'm going to be pouring some candles as well as demolding some of my shower steamers that I made yesterday. So this is just a typical half day working day that they will often do on the weekends. Orders always come first. So this morning I woke up to 2 orders I received overnight from my Shopify website. I have a candle order going out to somebody in Toronto, and then I have a second order for another candle and a shower steamer pack. So I hope you enjoy this style of video. Let's kick it off with just printing out those orders and getting those sent out. So as many of you know, I do run my small business out of my home. I work full time and I run my candle and soap making business on the side. And so this room that you're seeing is actually our home office and where I run my business from. So we have 2 printers set up beside me here. One is a laser, one is an inkjet. The inkjet is for color and the laser is more for mass printouts. And then behind me here is my corner where I do all my shipping from. I cut my soap bands, I have my business cards, all my packing material. And then we have this really nice double closet system that you'll be able to see here beside me or behind me, which is where I keep, packing boxes, material, bubble wrap, all that sort of stuff for sending out, all the stationery type things to run your business. I do have my soap and candle making room. It's half of our basement essentially, and we're just in the process of renovating it, but it's starting to come together really nicely, and that's where I actually do all my making. So I'm going to head over there now with the packing slips that I just printed and start pulling the products that I need to send out. Okay, so this is my soap and candle making room, and this is where I create everything. And as I said, we're still a little bit under renovation, but we're setting this room up like a kitchen. So a kitchen without any cupboards, because I like to be able to access all of my raw goods. I like to be able to see where everything's at. So I don't want to have to, bother opening a cupboard. But I kind of have it separated off. So the section that you see me standing in here is where I make soap, bath bombs, shower steamers, etc. And then in the corner, we're just finishing off my candle making station. Last night, I made a batch of shower steamers and they're just drying here. So later this morning, I'm going to be demolding them and start packaging those out. One of the orders that I have here actually does have a Breathe Easy shower steamer, and I just looked at my quantity on my shelf and I'm completely out. So that was very nice timing. So I won't be able to fully finish that order until I finish packaging these, but I will be able to pull part of the orders, and I'll sort of show you how I do that. So I do have a cart over here that I will use if I have large quantities of orders or large quantities, often candles. And actually later today, I do have to pull candles for a restock for a store in Kincardine. So I'll try to show that to you as well. But this cart here is really handy. I'll sort of stock it up with products that I'm shipping out or prepping for delivery and take it over to my office where I'll finish packaging, printing out any labels or anything like that I need. It's a nice transition between the 2 rooms. It's just what works for me. But because I'm only doing 2 orders right now, I'm actually just going to be using a little tray that I have here. I've got the orders on the tray, and I'll just pull the orders, put them on the tray, and then just carry them manually that way. So as I was stating, this room is very much under construction, but I'll give you the full view right now. So this is my candle making station. We are just in the process of finishing the walls. You can see in the corner where we left off, but I have all my candle jugs, fragrance oils that I'm not using down on the bottom left, but may use in the future. These are oils that I've either made for special editions like Christmas holiday candle sets, or fragrance oils that I have really liked or discontinued, but don't want to throw away quite yet. I have my boxes of candle wax in the bottom. Up above, I have all the fragrance oils that I use, the pitchers that I'm currently pouring with, and here's everything that I use as far as wicks, wicking tabs, labels, and a little bit of a stationery box down below. This table is where I'm going to be doing my bath bomb shower steamer wrapping from, but I keep the tabletop empty because often I'll just use it as a staging area to set different products, etc. And then, as I was showing before, here's where I do all my soap making, bath bomb making, shower steamer making. I have this really handy island as well. I have everything set up, and then I have all of my essential oils just above. So I try to keep the essential oils and fragrance oils separate. I only use phthalate-free fragrance oils for my candles to have as clean burning as possible. But for any of my bath or body products, I use completely fragrance, like essential oils for my fragrances. And then I use only natural clays for any colorants, which is what you can see down below. In the middle there are all my botanicals, natural clays, etc. So we do have in this corner here, which is not quite finished yet, where the sink's going to go. So behind this wall, there's actually another sink where I do all of my washing right now, but we're just going to bring that sink forward to have a handier setup. And then lastly, I have a shelf here where I keep my pre-made products. So in the boxes are candles that I have pre-poured and they're ready just for picking for orders. And in the clear bins are my soaps. The soaps are all cured, ready for going out. And we have drilled holes in these boxes or in these bins so that the soap will continue to get good airflow. But I really like these. I can take these to market really, really quickly. I can move these around if I have more or less quantity that I'm, making stocking on the shelves. It's just really handy way. That works really, really well for me. So right now I have to pick 2 candles. One of them is sandalwood and blue sage. So I have all of my boxes labeled, and some of them are in these here. So sandalwood and blue sage is underneath. A little bit hard to do here with one hand, but I'll do my best to show you what this would look like. Again, sorry, apologies, it's a little bit challenging here to show, but I pull out my sandalwood and blue sage candle, and I'll put that on my tray. And the other one I need is saffron and tobacco, and that's here. I've just got a little bit of overstock. So I typically keep at least 12 of the 8-ounce candles in these boxes, but I have overstock, so I put it up top like that. So I'll grab that guy. So once I've picked my products, I come back into the office, and this is where I will print the labels, package, and send out the product. So I mentioned before, I still have to package and wrap the shower steamers. So I'm going to do that next because the other order for just the single candle, I have just realized that I'm out of the packing boxes for single candles, and I can send it out in a larger box, but I order all of my shipping boxes from Amazon. So I know I will get it the next business day, and today's a Sunday, with tomorrow being the Easter Monday stat. So the order won't go out anyway till Tuesday. So I have lots of time to get the proper box in for the proper size product. So I'm going to put a little bit of a pin in for shipping out, but I can walk you through the next steps. So on my Shopify account, I will select the order, and I purchase my shipping labels straight from Shopify. And I'll print it out on a sticker sheet that I just feed into my printer. I will measure the dimensions of the box, the length, width, and height. And then I will take a weight measurement in ounces, how heavy the box is once I have the candle fully packaged and ready to go. Type that in, and then the Shopify program will calculate the cost of the shipping label. I pay for it right then and there. They just deduct it from the price of the revenue that I took for the order. And then I take it to Canada Post. I do ship via Canada Post. I know people in cities have more options, but I live in a very rural community, so I don't have the convenience of some of the other shipping companies, unfortunately. But always ship expedited, and I've had no problems so far using that method. No complaints on timing, but I do try to get my orders out the next business day. So I hope that explanation helps. I'll do more videos on packaging in the future when I have, be able to show it fully from start to finish. But hopefully that gives you a little bit of an overview of how I ship, how I pick, how I print my orders, how I pick them, and how I ship them out. So next we're going to go back into the soap room and just finish the demolding of those shower steamers and shrink wrapping them and packaging them. Okay, so back in the soap and candle making studio, I have to get these shower steamers ready to go because we have an order for one. And so I actually made these ahead of time last night before the order came in. I always try to keep ahead of my stock as much as possible, and I had completely sold out of these previously. So these were on my list to make, and I try to make in a fairly large batch. As you can see, this is one batch. I could double it. I could also half of it, but this would be typically the minimum batch size I would make for shower steamers just to make it worth my while. By the time I put all this together, it does cure overnight, harden overnight, take it out, and then I have to wrap them. It's just each of those systems to take them out, get it done takes time. So to be efficient, I try to make it enough of them at a time to make it worth my while. Something else that I have learned through the shower steamer molds I use, because they are a hard shower steamer mold, which is what I prefer, the middle mold does not come out as easily. So when I pack the shower steamers using these molds, I try to remember not to put anything in here because I find I can kind of push the outside a little bit easier. It's a little more flexible, and they kind of come out. The other trick to these molds that I use is if it doesn't come out on the first push, I kind of just move on, and I find just that initial flex and then just leave it. It'll kind of over time expand back, and then I find when I come back to it, it usually will just pop out. And then if all else fails, I will just leave it sitting upside down, and sometimes I'll give it a little bit of a bang, and it will come. But this part is a little bit tedious. I have seen people use like silicone flexible molds. I've tried that. It doesn't work for me. I find when I pack in the shower steamers, because I have to pack them in so tightly, that I actually start to kind of misshapen or misform. I'll overpack the silicone molds and it will expand and give me a shape I don't want. It won't be round, it'll be like oblong, kind of protruding, which just doesn't look the best. It's funny, I find with my candle and soap making business, it's when it rains, it pours. It's like, it'll be slow for a couple weeks and you'll be thinking, okay, come on, where are the orders? This weekend's a good example of that. So overnight, I got 2 online orders from my Shopify store. I got a retailer that reached out asking for a complete candle restock. So probably end up giving her about 50 candles. This retailer I do on consignment, so it gives me a bit of flexibility as to the quantity, but she sells a lot and I like to give her enough of a quantity. But anyhow, so that'll be about 50 candles. I have them all pre-made. I showed you on my shelf earlier, but what that'll mean is now I'll go back tomorrow and start pouring more candles. So it's just funny, nothing for the last week I had no orders. And now overnight I have all this business. So that's just a good example of kind of what you can expect, when trying to do this yourself. Just to be as prepared as possible. Now I know by making all of these in advance, that's money out of your pocket, because obviously, you have to pay for all of the ingredients and to stock it. And so for me, it all comes out of my business bank account. I keep all of my business money separate from our personal money, which now, because I've been in business for a period of a couple of years, I have a bit of a savings there. So I just pull from that. But when you do first start out, you'll have to have a little bit of capital or a little bit of money saved on your own accord to be able to get out in front of it a bit. Now, when I first started, though, I did not have a quantity that I have now. So other than soap, you will have to make soap ahead because it does take several weeks to cure. But everything else, if you hustle, you can get out the door within a 24-hour period. But just be prepared that you might have to hustle a bit. And I also look at it like, if you're going to have the raw ingredients on hand, you might as well just take that final step and make it. I am a bit of an anxious person. So if I don't have it ready to go, I just worry, what if I get a lip butter order, a bath bomb order, a shower steamer order, and I have none of those things made? Like, that's going to be pretty stressful 24 hours for you to make all of that. So I'd recommend doing it the way I do it, but there, of course, are other ways of doing it. And the other thing is, you obviously don't have to have, like when I started, I didn't have the quantity of different product types. I just started with soap and candles. And then I moved out into the shower steamers, the bath bombs, and lip butter. I've dabbled a little bit in body butter. I'm not currently offering it. People love it, I will say. I find it frustrating because it melts. So in the hotter temperatures. And I also find it a bit frustrating because if I stock it in stores, I'll give them a sample jar, but if the store owner's not watching, like, that jar can get contaminated because people will be dipping their fingers in it. Even if you give people, a stick to use, people are gross. And so I worry that it's going to get like contaminated or bacteria start growing. I do use a natural preservative, but it just makes me nervous. So I don't like doing body butters, but I like doing them. I do them a lot for gifts, but I don't like selling them. But that might change in the future. That's something that, was on a bit of, always on the kind of the back burner. People ask for it. So if anyone out there is watching this and has tips for, what works for you for stocking shelves for any body butter products, I'd be really appreciative of you sharing, what works for you, how you put samples out, anything like that. So some of these are not coming out very well at all. And I did make these last night at around 7 p.m. And we're in the next morning here, Sunday morning, around 9 a.m. So what I'm going to do is leave them upside down just like this and let them harden. And as they harden, they shrink just a little bit longer. I don't force these, so you can kind of see I was working them, but they're not quite ready to come out. I'm going to leave some of these as is. About another hour or two should do it, just so they can contract a little bit more before I move on to my shrink wrapping, which will be up next. Okay, up next, we are going to shrink wrap these shower steamers. I use something called the National Shrink Wrap System. It's what you see here. I highly recommend it because you can do shrink wrapping on mass here, but I don't make a commission by recommending it, anything like that. It's just, I actually do think it's just a good system. It's something actually I saw other people on YouTube using, and I wanted to try it myself. And one of the major sellers for me was that this is, it's called biofilm. So it's naturally biodegradable. And that's kind of my entire value system, just matches really nicely with that. I try to have as small of a footprint packaging plastic wise as possible. So this allows me to do that, as well as allows me to kind of shrink wrap en masse. It's very efficient to use. So this is how I do it. So again, I kind of had this like a little handy card. I don't know if you saw me wheel it over, but it's super because I can just move it around my soap studio as I need to. But so just cart it over, put about 5 of them. And one thing I will say is this heat wand, I would let it heat up for a good 15-20 minutes. If you don't, it just takes a little bit more. You kind of have to press harder, kind of leave it longer, and it's just a little bit harder to work with. So let it heat up for a good period of time, more than you'd think. Just leave it on that like heat proof mat and you'll be fine. You just kind of just push it down firmly, and then you turn it on its edge to kind of seal it and cut it. And then you just gently sort of pull it away. If you have to tug with any degree of force, you just need to go back and do that again. It's a little bit tricky to get the hang of it, I will admit, but once you get into the groove, you'll be fine. This is actually a task that my husband likes to do. It's a little bit, I don't know, mesmerizing. It might not be the right word for it, but it's a little bit addicting. So you kind of I just do them in these sleeves because you'll see when I'm done here, I'll be able to go the other way, seal them in their own little pouches. So the way I package my shower steamers is I do them individually like this because I like to make sure that, you know, as they're handled on the shelf or in shipping, that any of the little loose powder doesn't get everywhere. And then I will put them in a craft style bag in a pack of 5. And I also find that, you know, by selling them in a pack of 5, it's worth my while financially because I obviously can charge more than just individually. I do see a lot of people sell them individually. Nothing wrong with that. It's just how I've thought to do it. I actually have never brought shower steamers to a craft fair because these are a fairly new product release for me, and I haven't done a craft fair since Christmas. And the one Christmas market that I did towards the end of the year, when I started creating these and offering them, I didn't put it on my application form, so I couldn't offer it. So I've only ever done these through online sales, and they've done really, really well. Actually, not true. I do have these in one of my retail stores in Southampton in the pack of 5, and they've done really, really well there. But I haven't had a chance to go back to a market where I might try selling them individually, putting them in a nice basket, and work out an individual price. We'll see. Okay, so now that I have these kind of columnar sleeves, I'm going to just go back the other way and seal off their pouches. But to do that, I just want to line them up and get them ready to go. And you just kind of go back the other way. Again, kind of straight down, pushing pretty hard, and then on an angle. And they just kind of tear away. So I push them to the edge of that seal and do it again. Flat down, then on an angle, and the angle cuts it, like the edge of this wand seals it and cuts it. That was too quick. I could tell right away it wasn't ready to kind of pull away. And it should just pull away just as easy as it looks. Like there's no force to that. So if you give it a little tug and you're like, oh, it's just not breaking away, that just means you need to go back and do it again. And worst case scenario, if it doesn't, you know, the pouch doesn't fully seal, or when you go to put the heat gun on these, if you get a little hole, you just do it again, which I usually have to do at least once again. So for that purpose, I always leave this heat wand plugged in still, even though the next step here, we're going to move on to the hitting it with heat gun, because there might be one that just kind of I overdo it with the heat gun and it kind of pops open. Okay, so just remember then, if you're doing it like I do and leaving your heat wand on, you want to leave it still on, something that's not going to catch fire or burn. Okay, time to heat it with the heat gun. So I just have a Mastergraph heat gun. It goes up in increments of 1 at a time. I put it on 2. I just find that's works for me, but any heat gun will work. And just play around with the settings. I sometimes will put a little heat retardant glove on too, because this does get kind of hot. Which I think I'm just going to switch to here in just a sec once this one's done. This glove is actually from a hair straightener kit. And I put it on and I just find it gives me this little bit more protection from the heat. I think I have more sensitive hands than some people because my husband doesn't bother at all, but for me, I find it's quite comfortable now. Whereas before you kind of just touch, it's just hot to touch and nobody needs to be uncomfortable. So you can kind of see the distance, a few inches away. The key to it is not to overdo it because it'll keep shrinking and then you might get a hole. So just as soon as it looks like it's, shrunk appropriately, I just move on. And this is a fairly quick process as well, but it is all a process. So I really like the new setup of our soap room because I sort of have these defined spaces now, which I didn't have before. And that's okay, right? You work into and you use whatever you can. But when I first started in our other house, I was using our kitchen space. And our kitchen was huge. It was an old farmhouse, so it worked. But I had a whole closet, just dedicated to soap supplies. And I would have to literally take it out of the closet every time I wanted to make. And that must have tripled, my time. And that was okay, again, like when I first started. But as I've expanded and grown, I really do need a space now to properly run a business and have, proper storage shelves and just a more efficient, organized system. It just makes me really happy now. I can, when I talk about trying to fit things in, work-life balance, it really has kind of also helped me with that because I don't have to spend, extra time setting up, taking down. Okay, so those are ready for the next stage, which I will show you in just a second. Okay, we're back in the office. I have my shower steamers that we've previously shrink wrapped. I'm going to be putting them into these craft style bags. I do them in a pack of 5. And then I add a sticker to the front and a sticker to the back. So I have all my shower steamer stickers printed out in this little shelf. I got this shelving system from IKEA. And the shower steamers that we've made, packaged today, are called Breathe Easy. So I have a couple pre-printed out. And then in the back, I always, just the way I organize it, I always have the front label and then the back label right behind it. So I don't even have to think about it. But I do always just take a read through to make sure that the ingredients match what I've made, just in case. So I've got the right labels here for the front and back. So we'll get started on finalizing the packaging of these shower steamers. So I thought of this idea to put them in packs of 5 because I was pricing out each individual shower steamer and breaking down the profit on just one. And my opinion, making $1 or something like that, $1.25 per shower steamer is just not super worth my time. But when I can package them in a pack of 5, obviously 5 folds. So it made a lot more sense to sell them this way. And even just with my consumer hat on, if I'm going to buy shower steamers, I'm probably going to buy them. I'm probably going to want a few of them, or like for my personal use, or I'm going to be buying them for a gift. And so the individual shower steamer, although it's cute, it's a lot harder to put a label on the front, and then Canada label laws, you have to list all the ingredients as well. So you know, you've got to kind of cover it all up with a front and a back label. And I just couldn't quite figure out aesthetically how to make that work either. So this is what I've come up with. And just back to that home business aspect. So you can see behind me, this is actually my husband's work from home location. So we have quite the system down here, but you know, I sort of use half of this space for, you know, my husband works from home occasionally. Sometimes I have to log on from home as well. So we have our personal laptop as well, kind of behind me, and my work laptop. And so you just sort of make it work when you're running a business from home. But I do have these kind of dedicated stations, which is really nice. This one being one for shipping. That was my daughter that just came in. We're going to go to the Southampton beach actually later on today. So she is thinking of opening a little business herself. So she's 15 and kind of cool because she's seen, you know, me do all these markets, kind of be out in the community a little bit. So she is trying to I'll figure out what she wants to do, but I think it's really cool because our area is a beach community, has lots of markets and lots of tourism in the summer. So she's considering doing a beach glass jewelry business. So she loves collecting beach glass off of our local community beach. And she has a little Dremel tool where she Dremels little holes in each little beach glass stone or glass bead. And then she puts together these little beautiful necklaces and bracelets. So pretty excited for her if she can stick with it. She is 15. So her current task is to get enough available for a little vendor booth. And then I'll go to some markets with her. We might be able to do, you know, a side-by-side booth type thing, or if not, I'll just, you know, go with her and help her run her booth. But it's kind of cool to see her, you know, maybe be a little bit inspired by her mom, maybe, and her dad. Like, my husband helps tremendously with this business as well. Whenever we are at a craft fair or delivering to stores, you know, you name it, he's in there with me. He doesn't do any of the making, but he will help me do some packaging. I was mentioning earlier, he quite likes doing the shrink wrapping. So yeah, it's just kind of cool. I'm excited for her. My daughter's name is Brooke. We'll see what she comes up with, but looks like this afternoon we're going to the Southampton beach for some beach glass hunting. This is what the final package looks like. So I've got the name of the shower steamer. I call these ones Breathe Easy. These ones have eucalyptus, a little bit of rosemary and peppermint essential oil in them. And then on the back, I of course have all of the ingredients listed out per Canada label laws. Also in Canada, you have to have the shipping address, and then I of course have my website and social media links for people to go and check me out, you know, online. All right, so back at the beginning in the video, we had pulled 2 online orders. I mentioned I wasn't able to complete the one because I need a single shipping candle box. So I logged on and reordered those. Sometimes I order them from Amazon. Most of the time I order them from Amazon. Sometimes I'll order them from Uline as well. Uline has next day shipping, which is really nice, but Amazon Prime has really fast shipping too, just depending on the quantity. And obviously I'll check the prices. So mostly Amazon though. Anyhow, this order, the second order we can finish. So the customer ordered the sandalwood and blue sage 8-ounce candle. This is a new candle release, actually. I just posted on Instagram yesterday. So it shows as much as you can keep up with your Instagram, your followers do watch. And the lady that ordered from me is actually a vendor that I have you know, been at many vendor events with. So really, really appreciate this order. You know who you are. Thank you very much. And I've selected this size of box. We'll see what we think fits. So she ordered this candle and then she ordered a shower steamer pack. And I'm just double checking my order over here. I'm keeping it off camera on purpose because it has her, you know, mailing address on it. But I think this size box is going to be perfect. This box is is a reused box. So I do a combination. Just for the single candle, I often have to buy the shipping boxes because it's very rare that you're going to get a box. It's about 6x6 or 4x6x6. That's a pretty small box. But for other orders where I have multiple items, I will reuse as much as I can other boxes, whether it be from my personal orders off of Amazon or orders from the business. And I reuse these packing peanuts as well. This was actually a Uline order from, I think, some clear 4-ounce candle vessels that I ordered. I use those for like little holiday candles that I make in the holiday period. So I reuse them. Why not? I think it's the environmentally friendly thing to do. So those are in, and I'm just going to fold down this packing slip, and I'm going to borrow a pen off my husband's desk and just write a little thank you note. I'm going to say thank you so much and hope to see you soon. Because again, this is a fellow vendor that I have a feeling I will see at one of my upcoming markets over the summer, if not, definitely over the holiday markets. So I'm going to place that in there, and I top it off. I have these really cute business cards, just says clean, sustainable, local. And then all my social media are on the back. My branding is all my color branding is there. So hopefully that's nice and cohesive. And so when she opens that up, it should look like a nice little package to unpack for her. Okay, so I'm just going to prepare the shipping label for this box. And I have to take the weight as well as the measurements of the width, the height, and the length. So I have weighed this down, or I have put this on my scale. It weighs 28.20 ounces. So I just take a scrap piece of paper, write that down, because by the time I get to putting that into my Shopify, I won't remember that. And next, I'm just going to take a measurement in inches of this box. Let me see here. So it's 11 inches long, and I always just draw a little picture of it, just the way my brain works. So I'm going to draw a rectangle, 11 inches by, I'm going to say 5 inches high, and how many wide? I'm going to say 6.5 wide. Okay, so I'm going to type the weight, the height into my Shopify and print my order and then attach to the box. Okay, you might be able to hear that shipping label printing in the back, but while that's going, I'm just going to seal this box up. Okay, so this is what the printed label looks like. So I printed it on a sticker sheet, but you can also just print it on paper and tape it on. But I'm going to attach this. I'm just covering the shipping address, obviously, for privacy reasons. So for that purpose, I won't show me actually attaching it to the box. But that's it in a nutshell. I hope today's vlog wasn't too sporadic. If you like it, let me know. If you don't, also let me know. But that's a typical half day for me. So this was a Sunday morning half day, a work day for me in the shop, and jumping all over the place, but that's real life in running the business from home. So if you like this content, I would appreciate if you could like or subscribe, and that goes a long way to helping me gain a broader audience. Thanks so much. Bye now.